Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, The Last Jedi. I'm often asked, why do you like The Last Jedi so much? So I decided to make a series about it. So welcome to part 1, Why I Love The Last Jedi, Luke. Before I get into it, let's do some quick housekeeping. First of all, I'm not a new fan. I've been a Star Wars fan my entire life. I love Legends, I love canon, I love them both, and it means a lot to me. That being said, the reason that I'm making this video is to show you guys why I love this so much and why it means so much to me, and maybe provide a different perspective onto this film. And, maybe next time you can see it, you'll try to see my point of view as well. I want to start this out by addressing the elephant in the room. The big thing that people have the most problem with, at least that's what it seems like to me from people explaining their perspective. A lot of people say that Luke Skywalker would never be in exile to begin with. He would never leave his sister. He would never, cut off that connection to the Force. He wouldn't be in exile for this period of time. To be perfectly honest, I agree with you. I agree 110%. I don't think Luke would do this to begin with. My big question is, what does that have to do with The Last Jedi? And what I mean when I ask that question is, when we are talking about why I love what Rian Johnson did with the character of Luke Skywalker so much, we kind of have to start with what Rian Johnson was handed to begin with. Luke Skywalker is missing is the very start of The Force Awakens. The entire plot of the film is trying to find him because he's become a hermit, because he's gone into hiding. We see the image of Luke's hand on R2-D2 while the temple is burning in the very first trailer for The Force Awakens. Not The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens. Also in The Force Awakens, we get it clearly explained to us by Han Solo that Luke started a new Jedi school. One of the kids ruined it. He felt guilty and walked away from everything.
Why did he leave?
He was training a new generation of Jedi. One boy, an apprentice, turned against him, destroyed it all. Luke felt responsible. He just walked away from everything.
Again, that's what J.J. Abrams wrote, not Rian Johnson. Now, that's what we were told directly, but what else can we glean from this, right? We know that since he's not connected through the Force to Leia, because she would have been able to find him, and if he was open to the Force, he would be able to see and feel all of the suffering that's happening across the galaxy because of the First Order. So why hasn't he returned? Obviously, he must have cut himself off from the Force. So if those were your reasons for not liking the character, I get that, and your opinion is very valid. But I think we should all understand what Rian Johnson was handed versus what was his decision. Basically, Rian Johnson was handed a broken Luke that was in self-imposed exile, that was cut off from the Force, and cut off from his family, and cut off from the galaxy at large. And Rian Johnson was tasked on explaining how this could come to pass, and in telling that story, reconnected him with the Force and with his friends and with his family and with the galaxy at large. It had him bring hope back into the galaxy and save the Resistance and do it in the most Jedi way possible. The focus shouldn't be on where he started. It should be on his journey and where he ends. One of the things that I really love about this film is it examines the legend of Luke Skywalker alongside the actual man. And it does this in a really interesting way. Even us as fans at home will be saying, but this is Luke Skywalker. He's the guy that saw light in Vader. And Luke goes on to tell us that that is exactly why he failed.
Yes, the most hated man in the galaxy, but you saw there was conflict inside him. You believed that he wasn't gone, that he could be turned.
And I became a legend. And then I saw Ben, my nephew, with that mighty Skywalker blood. And in my hubris, I thought I could train him. I could pass on my strengths. Leia trusted me with her son. By the time I realized I was no match for the darkness rising in him, it was too late.
Luke Skywalker is the hope of the galaxy, and he is selfless and heroic. And when we actually watch the films, though, we can see that he has flaws, that he is impatient, that he runs into things without thinking, that he ignites his lightsaber out of instinct whenever anyone that he loves is in danger, which is part of the selflessness that we love. But we get to see here how it becomes a dual-edged sword. And this is also a love letter to the prequels, because we know that the Jedi, despite trying to be the best, doing whatever they could to help save the galaxy, they ended up falling short. For 1,000 years, they were the ultimate protectors of peace and justice in the Republic. And under their watch, under their rule, they failed. And we got to the darkest point that the galaxy pretty much had ever gotten to. Palpatine ruled the entire galaxy. Their hubris ended up being the architect of their own destruction. And I really appreciate that this is really the only film in the sequels that ties back to the prequels in such a profound way. Now, imagine Luke, who has studied all this, and he tries to make a better Jedi Order. He tries to right those wrongs. He does everything that he can, and he falls into the same trap. That's got to be disheartening, and it makes sense that it would cause him to believe that maybe the Jedi are part of the problem.
The first thing I had to do when I was writing the script was figure out why is Luke on this island. So he knows his friends are fighting this good fight. He knows there's peril out there in the galaxy. And he's exiled himself way out here and taken himself out of it. And so I had to figure out why. And I knew, because it's Luke Skywalker, who I grew up with as a hero, I knew the answer couldn't be cowardice. So I knew the answer had to be something active. He couldn't just be hiding, and I knew it had to be something positive. He thinks he's doing the right thing. That led to the notion that he's come to the conclusion from all the given evidence that the Jedi are not helping, and they're just perpetuating this kind of cycle, and that they need to go away so that the light can rise from a more worthy source.
This brings me to the next point in this video, is that Luke is here not because he's hiding, but because he believes truly that he's doing the right thing. He thinks that having the Jedi Order end is going to be the best thing for the entire galaxy, because it means that it will no longer create the very thing that it seeks to destroy. Rian Johnson frames what JJ set up in Luke's exile as not him running, but instead this is him following in the footsteps of Obi-Wan and Yoda before him. He's in exile because it is to serve the greater good of the galaxy. I think this is all very beautifully stated in the book Secrets of the Jedi, which is written from Luke's perspective. My path to becoming a Jedi Master was very different from the one followed by those who came before me. Still, when I suddenly went from naive farm boy to intergalactic hero, I thought myself worthy enough to carry on their long-lost traditions. In doing so, I became more than just another rebel fighting against the Empire. I became a legend myself. I even believed in my own legend for a time. I thought my triumphs were the sign of a new beginning for the Jedi Order, that I could build a powerful new force of light from the ashes of a dark empire. I almost succeeded in doing so. Legends don't always tell the whole story. The heroes at the center aren't always the shining beacons of light we so desperately want them to be. They have flaws and failures. At the time, my failures were almost more than I could bear. Instead of blaming myself for them, I blamed the Jedi. I became convinced the Jedi Order had done more harm to the galaxy than good, that they were so blinded by their own light, they let darkness creep in and take control. And so here, I came to Ahch-To, the most unfindable place in the whole galaxy, to die, and to let the Jedi die with me. I closed myself off from the Force for years after that, swore off the old ways, even tried to burn the last traces of the Order to the ground. I refused to make the same mistakes ever again. But by removing myself so completely from the world, I was failing everyone I loved, everyone who believed in me, and anyone who ever believed in those ancient legends of a noble warriors destined to bring light to the darkness. It had taken years of exile to convince myself I was doing the right thing. But all it took was one young girl to show me how wrong I had been that whole time. I was focused on letting the Jedi die for so long, I had almost forgotten why they lived in the first place. Perhaps it's time to walk that path again. After all, what good are legends if we can't learn from them?